channel. It's Chelsea, where we talk about all things glam and all things girly. I'm a beauty consultant who loves to talk about everything dealing with beauty and makeup, and today I am ranking my top favorite concealers. So let's get into all of that. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I truly do appreciate it. And let's get right into this video. Coming in at number 9, we have the KVD Beauty Good Apple Lightweight Full Coverage Concealer. I have the shade Medium 152. And this concealer, I'll be honest, I don't really have my thoughts together on it yet. In the sense of, in theory, there should be nothing wrong with this concealer. So I remember when I did a review on it, I actually really enjoyed it. I would agree that it is lightweight and it is full coverage. It's a really good mixture of the two because it didn't feel heavy under the eyes, and I didn't think it looked heavy under the eyes either. It lasted well throughout the day, got me through an entire work day. And at the end of the video, I was very happy with the concealer. So here is a swatch of the concealer, and I also do really like this shade. However, I think I might have used this concealer maybe 3 times this whole year. And I can't even tell you why. Actually, I do. I can definitely tell you why. There were some bomb concealers this year. And when this one came out, I remember another one came out and I could not stop using the other concealer. And then other ones came out and I felt like this one was like pushed to the wayside. So I do have good thoughts about this concealer, but it is coming in at number 9 simply because I just didn't reach for it nearly as much as I probably could have, because I had some other ones ahead of it that I just loved even more. Coming in at number 8, we have the Zara concealer. So I have the shade N933, and this is the Luminous Creamy Concealer. This concealer, y'all, I went hard on this concealer for a good little bit over this summer. So this is what the concealer looks like, and I would definitely agree that it has a really nice lightweight luminous look under the eye, and it actually has some pretty good coverage as well. And it's like, I think this was about $17 or $18, so definitely not in a completely expensive concealer. It paired really well, of course, with the Zara foundation, but I thought it went really well with other foundations that I was wearing, and I really enjoyed it. Like, this concealer, the little bit of traveling I did over the summer, I traveled with it, and it gave me a good little run. I think I used this concealer, when I say consecutively, not maybe every time, but like for a good 2 months, this concealer was in heavy rotation over the summer. So I really enjoyed this concealer, and I love the Zara foundation. Like, that's gonna be in my foundation favorites. But if you were looking at them, they are good. Coming in at number 7, we have Charlotte Tilbury, the Beautiful Skin Radiant Concealer. I have the shade 8 Medium, and straight up, this shade is way too light. But the great thing about it is it works. So this concealer, I love the brightening effect that it has. And I love that it really does look lightweight on the eye. It's really beautiful. So this is what the concealer looks like. And it's stunning. And even with this shade being a little lighter than I would typically go for, it blends very well into the skin, and the texture of it is really light as well. I don't reach for this concealer probably as much as I could reach for it, because I do feel like I like the coverage of the other concealers that I'm going to talk about better. I also like the wear of these other concealers better. So I feel like, kind of like the Beautiful Skin foundation, when you first apply it, it's like, oh my gosh. But as you go throughout the day, to me, this one doesn't wear as well. So I'm not looking like extremely crepey at the end of the day. But, you know, if I need something to last me all day to where I can look still pretty flawless at the end of the day, this is not the concealer I'm going to reach for. So I think this one is really good for like simple days, maybe a typical work day, or where I have also done is I have put on a more full coverage, maybe long lasting concealer first, and then I'll go in with this one to brighten, because it does a really good job at brightening, and I've liked it that way as well. So it's a really beautiful concealer, just not one I'm gonna reach for when I want a particular look or when I need a lot of longevity. Number 6. Now this one is a beautiful one as well, and if I have to be honest, I don't love it as much as I want to love it, but I do like it. I mean, it's coming in at number 6, so it's good. This is going to be the Milk Makeup. This is called the Future Fluid All Over Cream Concealer. So I have the shade 14N, and this is what the concealer looks like. This one is really gorgeous. I love the formula of it. It's lightweight. I also like the thicker doe foot of it here. And I also like that the way that the hole is situated in this particular concealer, it takes off a lot of the excess of the concealer, so you don't have to worry about maybe applying too much on your face. So I have no bad things to say about this concealer. It's beautiful, wears well, it doesn't like crease a lot. And when I say crease a lot, let me put this out here. All of these concealers crease, okay? So I'll just say that. But when I say it doesn't crease a lot, I'm talking like from the time that I blend it out on my face and then go to reach for my powder, I don't already have creases forming under my eyes. That's what I mean by when I say it doesn't crease a lot. Wears well throughout the day. Great for like drier eyes, because I do have pretty dry skin under my eyes, so this doesn't make me look drier or anything like that. It's a beautiful solid concealer. Like, there it is, beautiful solid concealer. It's only coming in at number 6 because I just have other ones in front of it that I've reached for more. So nothing wrong about this Milk Makeup concealer, nothing bad about it. I would highly recommend it. It's just that for me, the ones ahead of it, they're so good. Okay, coming in at number 5, and here's the thing with this concealer. I have not done a dedicated review on it. I have hardly even talked about it on my channel because for months I could not figure out how I felt about it. And at the end of the year, I have concluded I love it, okay? We've just gotta work with it. The Dior Backstage Concealer. Okay, I have the shade 3W. Yo, this concealer has become one of my favorite concealers. Okay, one of my favorites. Like, this one, I haven't talked about it hardly ever on my YouTube channel, but like in everyday life, this one is like, it's like money. Okay, so here's the thing. This is what it looks like on the back of my hand. First off, I love the coverage, and you can even see that it's got nice coverage compared to some of these other ones that I have applied. I love the coverage, I love the color. The only thing about this concealer that made me initially go like, I don't know if I like it at all, is the formula. The formula is a little more dry. So whenever I use this concealer, I just make that whenever I use this concealer, I just have to make sure that my under eye area is nice and hydrated. So I'll go in with a hydrating primer. And I usually will wear this concealer with foundations that are more natural or maybe a little bit more dewy. I don't like to pair this with a mattifying foundation because this, to me, can be a little more dry on the eyes. This is a very natural, maybe demi-matte type of formula. But, and two, do not use a lot, because I feel like when I have used a lot, I have not liked how it looked under the eye. The coverage was a bit much for me. But if I just add a little here, blend that joker out for like a simple everyday look, or like built it up slowly so I could control how much concealer I wanted under the eyes. Chef's kiss. I love this concealer. For the majority of this year, because I forgot when this came out, this sat right here on my vanity. Like, and the makeup that's up here on my vanity, I know y'all can't see it, but the makeup that's on my vanity up here, majority of the time, it is the makeup that I'm reaching for all the time. This one is beautiful. It's like I said, it's one of my favorite concealers of the year, and I could definitely see myself reaching for it into next year as well. It's a beautiful one. I would just say that if you have drier skin, you might not like it because it might be a little too dry for your preferences. But I found ways to make it work by, you know, pairing it with more hydrating foundations and making sure that my base is hydrated. And I love it. I love it. It doesn't hardly crease. It's one of those concealers I don't have to set. So if I just want a little something and be out the door, like, it works well for that too. So it is great. Coming in at number 4, we have the concealer I'm wearing today, the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Concealer. So I have the shade Toasted Almond 5.3G. I also love this one a lot. I mean, it's really beautiful. full coverage concealer. It lasts all day long. In my opinion, it doesn't really crease hardly. Like, it's one of those concealers that if I don't set it, I'm not worried about looking like a crepey under eye area. And I just realized, y'all, this whole video, y'all might not have noticed, I've got mascara right here. Let me go ahead and take this off. I'll be back. Like I was saying, this one lasts all day long. It's really great when you want those full glam, like flawless beat, because the coverage is full, like kind of right out the gate. If you don't want to have a lot of this concealer, just scrape off the excess that comes on the doe foot, because it does have also like a thicker doe foot as well. And it is stunning. This one is really, really beautiful. I had a nice long love affair with this one as well. It's part of the reasons why the KVD one was outshined between this one and another one. But this one is a really good solid concealer. Very happy with it. Okay, top 3. So number 3, 2, and 1. I honestly could rank these as 1, 1.25, and 1.5. All 3 of them are amazing. I love all 3 of them. And it's only by like slight differences that they're coming in the numbers that they're coming in, okay? Number 3, good old Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate Concealer. So I have the shade 4W0 Hazel. I know this one is not new to this year, but I got it this year because I could not bring myself to buy it last year. I was just like, no, there's no way that I'm gonna love a concealer that much, because I am a foundation junkie, but I'm not really a concealer person. Like, what I mean by that is I love a good concealer, but I will comfortably use that one concealer over and over and over again. I don't have this need to get all of the concealers on the market like I do with foundation. So I tried the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate Concealer this year. This is what it is. This is what it looks like swatched on my hand. First of all, it's the tone and the undertone for me. I love a good peachy complexion product, okay? I love a peach tone complexion product because it does the canceling out, the brightening, all in one. All in that same product. So this concealer, when I first put it on, I was like, oh, this tone, it's beautiful. Secondly, the formula, it feels like butter, like a thicker butter formula. And I'm laughing because I'm like, if you don't like the texture of butter, then this is not resonating with you. But it is so creamy. There's the better word. It's so creamy. It looks beautiful under the eyes. This is also a great full coverage concealer. So when I want like full glam and beat, this is one of the ones I'm gonna reach for. It lasts all day long. This one does have more of a radiant texture, so it is a formula that I do wanna set. It's not gonna be one of those formulas that I'm gonna go like, oh, I don't have to set it. A little bit does go a very long way, and you can use maybe a little too much of this, so I would definitely recommend that when you use this concealer, wipe off the excess and then go in with your brush that way so that you don't have too much, and you know, it might be more than what you're looking for. But the finish, it's like red carpet perfection, okay? Red carpet perfection. The only reason why this is coming in at number 3 and not at the 2 spot is because the coverage is a little bit too much for me on an everyday basis. So this one I usually reserve for like more special events, more like a more glamorized type of look, because the coverage is where I want it to be and it just looks red carpet on my face. That is the only reason why it's coming in at number 3. But if that's the type of look that you want all the time, in my opinion, it is worth the price tag. That's all I'm gonna say. Now, coming in at number 2 would have been a number 1 concealer. And in all honesty, I keep going back between 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Because this really was my number 1 concealer. The Lys Beauty Triple Fix Full Coverage Brightening Concealer. I have shade TN3, and up until this last one came out, this was my number 1 concealer for the year, hands down. This concealer is everything. It is nice and full, like medium to full coverage. I think you can build this one up to full coverage, but it's a strong, solid medium. So here is the concealer right here. If you have the Triple Fix Serum Foundation, this does offer more coverage than the foundation. The formula does not crease. Now, when I say does not crease, you know, I've got my asterisk that says there's going to be, you know, a little bit of creasing. But when I say does not crease, I'm talking at the end of the day, if I got up close to you, you aren't going to be like, that concealer has aged you because you have all these fine lines. Like, it looks like I set my concealer with powder when I did not. That's what I mean by it does not crease. It lasts all day long. I love the finish. It's not too radiant. It's not too matte. It looks so perfecting on the face. And this is like my perfect everyday concealer. That's why it comes in at number 2 over the Tom Ford one, because this is the type of concealer I want to wear every day. Like, I just want to look flawless. I want to look beautiful. I don't want to look so made up to where you're like, what is she hiding? But like, I want to look alive and bright and just refreshed. That is this concealer all in one. And I think it's like $19. And it is performing like the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate price tag at a whopping $19. So this, like I said, this one was number 1 the majority of this year. This is also why I could not even begin to reach for the KVD Good Apple concealer, because it was just like, this is the one I wanted to use all the time. This concealer literally outshone the majority of these other concealers I talked about, especially if they all came out around that same time, because this one was so, and is so amazing. Like, I still reach for this one. But the one that I have ruled as number 1, like I said, if Lys Beauty is 1.25, then this one is number 1. The Sephora Collection Best Skin Ever Concealer. Okay, let's talk. Okay, shade 33N is the shade for me. Yes, I know this just came out. I know. That's why I was like, Chels, are we really committing to this so early on? But we really are. This concealer, okay, so that's where it is right here. Okay, so that's the concealer. It is perfection, okay? Literal perfection. So this is why it is a full coverage, like medium to full coverage, but you really get a lot of coverage right out the back. So like, when I apply this, I take this doe foot because it is larger. I wipe off the excess like so. Then I add a corner here, a corner here. What I love to do is let it sit. And I do this with all of my concealers, but some concealers, like for instance, with the Dior Backstage one, I don't let it sit for too long because it does dry down. And then it gets to a point where it doesn't like to move too well. And then it looks kind of dry and like, you know, it's just not gonna look like how I want it to do. This one, I can let it sit on my face for like 5 to 10 minutes. And when I go to blend it in, it's set in a way that the coverage is not affected. However, I can still move it around and it just looks beautiful. I love the way my under eye looks every time I use it. I've got amazing coverage. I don't ever feel like I use too much, but I can see how you can use too much if you don't wipe off the excess. You can use too much and it could get to a point where you don't like it. So I would agree that you might want to make sure you're not using too much and build up coverage, but don't go in just right out of the back with a whole bunch of coverage. I find that this formula, in my opinion, is pore blurring. It's got a very nice natural finish and it is just stunning. I put this over the Lys Beauty concealer because this one does have more coverage, but it does so in a way that still looks natural. It doesn't look like red carpet and made up like the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate concealer. That's why this one, for me and my preferences, is gonna outrank this one, because I'm not gonna wanna look like this every day, especially if I'm wearing more of a lighter coverage foundation. This one works well no matter what type of foundation I'm looking for or using. This one is always gonna be complimentary toward it, and I just love it. Like, I always do this and then I'm like, stop yourself, because I was about to say, if I had to get rid of all of these concealers, I would not be a happy person. But if I had to use this concealer for like 2 weeks straight, I would be a very happy person. And as a content creator who is constantly trying new things, it's really hard for us to go back to the same product over and over again, because either we're trying something new or it's like, ooh, I like this one over this one. This concealer, I have been riding hard with every time. Like today, the only reason why I wore the Huda Beauty one was because I was like, let's try another one, because I've only worn this one for a hot minute. She's number 1. She's amazing. I love her. This is also really affordable. I think this one is around like the $18, $19 mark. And it's just amazing. So guys, that is my top 9 favorite concealers of the year. If I've talked about other concealers in the year and you don't see it in this video, doesn't mean that what I said in my video wasn't true. These are just the ones that stood out that I felt like really deserve to be in this video. And with the KVD Good Apple Concealer, I do like this one and I included it because I will definitely still be using it. This just got outshined because the other ones that I talked about they were just so much better. So let me know down in the comment section below what your top 2 favorite concealers were for the year. I want to know because, you know, maybe if you're talking about one that I have not tried, I might go out and try it because, you know, y'all have some good recommendations as well. So thank you so much for watching this video. And if you have made it to this point in the video and you have yet to subscribe to my channel, I would love for you to consider subscribing and joining the Glam Girl Squad. And guys, that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in my very next video. Bye, guys.